Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for having me here. Gratitude to Professor Jain and Pawan and all of you who have assembled here. So I'm supposed to talk about capitalism, my version of capitalism. So I was in the car while I was coming, I was saying that I moved away from capitalism many years ago. My official work ended and my social work started. So that was a big transition for me. And yesterday in one program where I attended, they asked, what is the difference? I said contentment. So contentment is the cause, like we are, the main reason for existing in a human body is to be contented. So that is one factor. Anyway, I'll come to the changes which I have seen in the world, moving through capitalism, through various other isms, and finally reaching where we have reached. So the original idea of capitalism is capital-oriented market, the original idea. That means capital talks, capital decides. You have capital, you can take decisions. But again, you can't do anything unless the market accepts. The market has to accept. Whatever you do, if the market has no requirement for it, you're wasting your time. So the market-based economy or the capital-based or free market economy, this is actually just transcended to a level where there are monopolies and there are the globalization in a way, controlling the entire world through capital again. And this won't end. This won't change. It can't change because now the world is one. Even though there are 195 countries in the world is one. I don't think it will ever change. But one change I perceive is that social capital index is growing. Your relevance aspect is growing. When did it start? It started with COVID. Money did nothing during COVID. Did you notice that? Money had no value, no effect. Everybody was indoors. Animals and birds were outdoors. All the human beings were imprisoned in their own houses during COVID. We had restrictions. We had controls. We could not do anything naturally. Isn't it a sign? I look at it as a warning bell. If one test of that kind happened effectively, more such things can happen. So you may have capital, you may have purchasing power, you may have flights and mobility and all those things, but it's useless. So what the future looks at is how effective you can be when nothing works. When nothing works, if you can be effective. That is the social capital index, where you sitting in one place, you can still be effective in many parts of the world. That will have a lot of impact. Now, another point. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to give certain points so we can think about it. Another thing, I'm far away from the media these days. It means I don't read the news or I don't get time like that. But a group of people has been discussing about the future of the world. And I happen to get some snippets of that. So some of them were predicting crisis. Crisis in terms of communication. When Ukraine war happened, many companies like PayPal withdrew from Russia. Are you aware of that? What happened to Russia at that time? Many of their usual functions did not work. Where you have to pay money through PayPal or those kind of things, and the business or activity connected to satellite or some global organizations, when they withdrew, there was paralysis. And that time, you remember what Putin said? I will also make you experience what we are experiencing. How many of you heard that? Putin said, I will also make you experience what we are experiencing now. Paralysis. Activity paralysis. You think it's a vague warning? One point. Another point, China tested a satellite disruption. That means they put a missile and destroyed one of their own satellites. We are too oriented on satellites now, aren't we? Most of our things are regulated by satellites in the world. And China proved that you can destroy satellites, jam satellites, and many countries have access to outer space. And we are now sending more and more satellites. Just imagine a disruption happens in the whole satellite system. It will retard us many years back. We won't move like we move now. See, I look at all these as not like a potential danger, but warning bells. Are you doing something about it, or are you ignoring it? We can ignore it as long as it takes, or as much as we want. But I believe that you can't ignore anything. We can hope that such disruptions do not happen, but we cannot guarantee that. Example, the current Ukraine war, Russia-Ukraine war, Palestine-Israel war, Iran's position. Look at all these things, all these countries, and there is a polarization already happening, already happened, and it will continue. People will associate or assemble under somebody or with somebody. So this can all cause disruptions. So automatically, decentralization has to happen. Because if you have a centralized working method, it will be very difficult to operate. Because when you imagine each country, I hope it won't happen, but each country decides our satellite and our communication system is non-transferable, means other countries can't operate from here. So that means now we can, if you have a UK number, you can go to any of the EU states and still the phone works. Imagine that doesn't work. Just outside UK, you need to have another connection. Or like that, where they make islands, where operating levels are different. Because for the sake of profits, they will do it. Sake of profits, because if you make it open, profits are less. So there could be a possibility of all these kinds of stuff coming up in the world. Again, capitalism in a different coat, different jacket. It is also power and control, but different jacket. But this will most probably take place in the world. Now, the predictions of 29, 30, 31 are that of extreme tense atmosphere in the world. Things are on a standstill, or people are not really, or countries are not really collaborating, they are contradicting. In that position can happen. If that happens, then we are all isolated. And you see what is happening, global warming and all those kind of things. This is also detrimental. So one of the main things I feel for any entrepreneur is flexibility, adaptability, and keep shifting. You flow like water. Be so fluid like water. And that can possibly place you at the right place at the right time for the right reason. If there are rigid plans, like earlier when I was studying, we used to make 5-year plans. Now 5-year plans, 5-month plan is not possible. So you can see that these rigid or forecasting a larger or a longer pattern or plan may not work. This is my reading from this thing. So capitalism is see, please understand, everything changes. Nothing is static in the world. There is no thing called, okay, this is it now. It will keep changing. And always, perfection is a process. Perfection has no end. Examples are mobile phones. By the time you say, I got a perfect mobile phone, you reach home, you see another ad. A better one is coming. So your perfection is always a process. So it keeps evolving and processing. But one thing is that nobody can take free economy away beyond a level. They can paralyze it like COVID did. COVID paralyzed everything. Like that, it can happen. But I don't think it will completely take away that free economy kind of module. And the state-based economy that we were oriented on for a long time, state-based economy, I don't think it exists anymore. If you think China is a state-based economy, we are wrong. It's not. It is also capitalistic, but in the camouflage of a controlling body. There's a controlling body so that they can destroy some things on a laser beam level. That is strategic destruction. But it is also capital, money-based, power-based, control-based economy. So this will stay. It will evolve. And those who are flexible and those who are not imitating, those who are original, will have a lot of space here. And those people will be regarded, respected. But those who are imitating and those who are trying to copy somebody else and then trying to do something, those people will have a problem. Those entrepreneurs will have a problem. Locally, there must be some success, but globally, no. Globally, you can't. This is approximately my introduction. I'll take your questions. Yes, please.
Yes, and then Namaste.
Namaste.
We are honored to have you here, sir. And the fact that you are actually giving a talk in a very prestigious Western business school shows so much how dharmic thinking is actually the place to look for answers to the challenges facing the Western world. The question I want to ask you is, you've mentioned a variety of things, such as a pandemic, disruption in communication. And I was waiting for you to mention artificial intelligence. Because I am of the opinion that is quite significant and the impact on humanity is going to be enormous. Would you like to share with us any thoughts you may have on that?
Artificial intelligence is a sign of a time. Like social media is the sign of our time. We cannot change it. We cannot do anything about it. We have to live with it. And I don't think anything is right or wrong when time changes it. Because time brings forth changes across the table. So artificial intelligence is not a bad idea, and it is inevitable. And we have already moved towards being unconscious more and more. Like when we started using calculator for calculating. Before that, we used to know multiplication tables, etc. Now we don't know anything. Likewise, when mobile phones started storing numbers, before that, we knew many numbers, phone numbers. Now we know nothing. So we are taking the memory aspect of the brain away on a very rapid level. Now, artificial intelligence will completely take it away, and we are dependent. What all this is creating is dependency. We can't avoid it. Now we are dependent on mobile phone. We are dependent on so many things. Our cars are different. Earlier, the cars were different. All the things are changing. And I think this is sign of times. So one of the things where we can possibly do to bring back the first aspect you said, the dharmic aspect, is to cultivate connection, respect, care, responsibility. These things, if it is cultivated, I think there will be balance. But you cannot change the flow of things which time brings. Time brings these things. Time changes things. We can't do anything. And also there's no point in complaining about it, because this all collective consciousness moving towards in that level. We have what I have seen mostly, like for example, most of the people who follow me are youth. They like my style of work or teaching or whatever you call it. I feel that people are looking for truth. There are indifferent people. They are happy with their unconscious existence, eating, drinking, sleeping, getting a job, and then getting some kind of progress, and they die. So some people are happy with it, but some people are not happy with it. Especially you, they start asking questions. What am I doing here? Is this what and also the contentment factor. People have started asking, am I happy? Many times this question doesn't happen. When I was talking to a group of students in New York one time, few years ago, they all have their different courses. So I asked, why did you take this course? So they said, most of them said, not everybody, most of them said, big money, good money. So I asked, what about happiness? So most of them said, if we have a lot of money, we'll be happy. I said, I know very, very rich people. They are living in their cages, afraid to look outside. So money cannot guarantee happiness. Happiness has to happen now. So if you are doing something, you should be loving it while you do it. So you are contented, you are stable, and your stability will speak. And that stability is the right answer to the world. Your stability, individual stability. You don't have to be spiritual for it. When you are rooted in your own nature, you do what you love to do, you are stable. Many things around will happen as it is, but it will not affect you so much because you are already contented, you are already stable. So there are youth looking for it. There are youth focusing on what is real and what is unreal. But you cannot take away the social media. So let it be. You cannot take away anything. And there's no point in restricting. Because when you restrict more, that will be the predominant thought in your mind. The story of the black monkey. The master said, you think about anything except the black monkey. Everybody was thinking only about black monkey. That is exactly how mind works. So when you prohibit something, that's very important. So prohibition won't work. Instead, regulation, personal regulation. I always tell the people who come to me, I said, I'm not regulating or I'm not restricting anything. You do it if you like it. So nobody else should do it. You do it. And if you think you have to be in social media, do it. And after a while you think, I don't want to be there, then don't do it. You see? So today, if you are not visible in the social media, etc., then people think you have some problem. People may think that you are either an escapist or you have some deficiency, like complex. So it is important that you are everywhere, but at the same time, you are not addicted to anything. I was talking to one chief of police, and he said, one of the major reason behind crime are the addiction to social media. Violence, or to domestic violence, not crime, domestic violence. Because people become very angry when something like, I was in Turkey at the time when Facebook went out for 6 hours. I didn't know. I was moving. Later I saw in the TV that so many people are contacting psychologists, psychiatrists. They can't handle it because Facebook is gone for 6 hours. 6 hours Facebook outage pushed people to mental breakdown. Truth. This is the truth. This is the reality. We have to understand reality. Only then we can live beyond it. So, but these are all sign of times. This is how it is. I don't look at anything as good or bad. It's how you handle it. That's it. Nothing in life is good or bad. But when you are stuck with it, when it controls you, then it binds you. That binding, I think, is not a good idea. Nothing should bind us. We should be free. Always. Yes, please.
Thank you, Father, for being here and enlightening us with so many good values. So there's always this constant confusion. So our mind always grabs whatever it sees regularly, right? So I'll take a very basic example of like sleeping on time, waking on time, telling your body, trying to understand what are we feeding into the body in terms of simple routine, which I would be able to tell to some youths, like for the sake of my son when he grows up. But then there's constant feed of Friday night outs, late night outs, having different type of drugs, as cool. And if you're not there, they're not very cool. So how do you sort of, in the world of constant distraction with social media, and as much as I am pro AI, but also that, AI giving you the whole existence of the world in that particular screen. So communication will definitely become a barrier. You'll not need humans to interact. You'll need robots to interact with. How do we sort of pass that value to a next level generation and tell them what basic is? Because there is no ground set anywhere now.
What are we passing on to the next generation anyway? Greed. You look at the society. See, earlier we had a connection with our father and mother. Today, do the children have connection with us? They have connection with mobile phone, not with you. Secondly, you teach them anything you like, but do they learn? They look at you, how you react in the world, how you respond in the world, how you are in the society, and they take cues from that. See, if you are partying in the night, it's nothing. But if you are inconsistent, they look at you and say, Ma, you are inconsistent. They say, or you're a hypocrite. You're telling me something like a smoker tells the child not to smoke.
Of course.
This is exciting. See, you have to lead by example. That's the only way. Not only to children, to the world outside also. They look at you and they decide who you are or what's your relevance.
Because that can be seen as being not cool or like outdated sort of a...
No, how you want your child to be, you live it. That's the only way. So if you're partying or going out doesn't make a difference because you want your child to be morose and be drawn. Let there be everything, part of life. That's not a problem. But the thing is, when we try to teach somebody something, I think nobody needs any teaching. Probably guiding. Guidance is enough. Actually, people are intelligent. Teaching means it's a pressure. Teaching gives pressure to the receiver, to the student or the child. I would say guidance is good enough, and your life is your best message. If you are unaffected by the fluctuations of the world, they will look at you and say, Mom, how are you unaffected? This is affecting me. Imagine somebody is scolding you and you're smiling. So like Buddha's story, when one man came and scolded him, Buddha was looking at him without any particular emotion. So his students were unhappy. I said, how come our teacher is scolded like this? And so then when this guy left, they asked Buddha, Sir, you didn't respond. You didn't react. So Buddha said, should I? No, he was just testing me whether I am practicing what I'm teaching. Patience, stability. This is exactly what children look at. See, all the children look at parents and tailor-make their own life. So today, that the main problem is parents do not have enough influence on the children like social media has. And we have no idea what they are watching in the social media. It could be dangerous stuff. Like the one boy who killed a lot of fellow students said that he was watching this, he was playing this game of killing people, and so he didn't didn't feel the difference between actual killing and the fictional or virtual killing, because all the time he was doing it, he was hunting things or killing people on the games and stuff. So all these things are influencing, and sometimes subconscious takes over and the subconscious thinks it's okay. And that reality, so the child took the gun to the school and shot children. So these kind of things, how can you regulate it? That's why I say a connection should be made as a friend, not as parent anymore. It should be more of a connection, and guidance is enough. You can guide, and if they ask a question, guide, and also lead by example. That's the best way. Times are changing, See, like we were talking about the economy, virtual, plastic money, all those things, they're all sign of times. But imagine the plastic money, if there's no connection, if there is no connection which will help this transaction, not only money, flights, hospitals, everything which is based on connection to countries, even immigration. Just imagine if that goes, then everybody will be islands. We'll all go back to the books, like the old immigration. Yeah. It doesn't take much time to retard us to a completely different phase. We are that way. We are walking on an edge all the time. Anytime you can slip and fall. And also, it's important to be conscious now, very conscious, and we have to do our bit. Make people aware. We need a conscious society. We need a society who's conscious, awakened, not spiritually awakened, being aware. Alert, aware, active. An alert society, aware of things and active, proactive. It's important. Passive and the indifferent will not work anymore. See, that's exactly, if you look at all the world wars and the wars of the places, they always had war when a society became passive, indifferent. Somebody ran over them. Somebody conquered them. You look at the history, you will know. Every time when the society became passive, they are asking for trouble. Dictators come. This happens. So it is important to be alert, aware, active, and no activism, but living the example, leading by example. That's very important. Yes, please.
I'd just like to bring us back to the summary about capitalism and how I'm not a student here, I'm a guest, but how current students of business should orientate themselves in the face of all these challenges you have just described.
Yeah. As I said, we need to have extreme flexibility to stay afloat in changing times or challenging times. Only with flexibility you can always stay afloat in a turbulent, changing times. That's the first step. Second is that anything we do, what is its social relevance? That question also, not just profits. See, the problem with capital-based thing usually is it is connected to more of capital or profits. So when we only look at profit, there will be a lot of damage in the world because we may get profit, like we have seen with medicines, vaccinations, and so many things. So some people made a lot of money, but a lot of people suffered. And these kind of things you can expect further, because when the globalization happens, supremacy, control, regulation, even manipulation, we can expect it because this is part of it. But how do we chip in our bit is that we always look at ethics. Even if the law agrees with something, we should look at what is the ethics for it. If it's not ethical, even if the law supports it, we should not do it. So that our conscience is clear. All that we do in an ethical way. I'll give you one example. When I was running the country, a business, oil tankers, mainly tankers, the system was like that the system always gave credits. There are so many vendors because we have a lot of activity. I was the head of the country. I was the top person of the office. So many vendors, and everybody gets paid only after 90 days. And it was the norm. They give a quote in the beginning of the year, we approve it, and the payment all goes later. Later, when I joined, I was very young. I was in my 30s. So many of the people were very senior in the office. And they did not really look at me favorably. I said, this child, what is he going to do? So I called all the vendors. I said, I don't need your credit, but I need a better rate. I pay you after the work. And I changed the system so that the movement of money became faster. And I gained a lot with a much lesser price. So the interest or whatever the excess we would have saved, I saved much more on the cost. So automatically my profits went up. I thought this is much more ethical than having credit. Everybody are waiting for payment and we release the payment after. And that stocked money is not useful to me rather than the rolling money. That's one aspect. Then second aspect was we had a lot of ships with cruise people coming in. And there are a lot of requirements for the cruise vessels. So I was handling the whole shipping business. So we have a lot of vendors starting from taxi to hotels, because people stay on the ground for 2-3 days, then they sail again. All these things I did the same. Where we get a booking, we have a discounted rate. Customer gets it, we get it. So it was a win-win situation. So like that, ethically, I reduced the total expense and income ratio. Ethically, I regulated it, and I used to pay 2 months extra salary every year, 14 months salary every year. This was just because of only an alignment. This is one thing. Now today we should look at ethics in a much larger way. See, I'm getting this leadership award in South Africa. That's the conscious leadership group, where there are various multinationals participating. One of the things which I spoke when I went there last, now this year they have selected me to get the award. So they this time the same thing, what I was talking to them was exactly, you have a lot of reach. Big companies like Nestle and Unilever kind of people have huge movements in the world. But are you looking at what is the damage it is doing to, or your activity is doing to the nature? If not, it's time. So one of the thing is like I follow a vegan diet program. That is because of cruelty. No level of cruelty towards any species is going to help us stabilize the world, for sure. So like we have so much of rainforest destroyed. We are serving in Amazon forest now. So much of rainforest destroyed for the sake of cultivation of cattle, animal farms. And we have activity in Australia. There also the same thing. Forest fires deliberately put so that you can clear the forest and have farms. And what is happening now? The global warming is happening, and we are giving a worse world to the next generation. We may have a little bit of profit in the pocket, but what are the next generations getting? A much worse world. So if even if it is legal in many things are legal, but if it's not ethical, we should stay away. We can still have a good life and a very good life by living our conviction, by helping the helpless, serving the world through our business, our activity. I always encourage business, good business. We have a lot of people who in our group who are doing good business, ethical business. They will never cheat or steal. They always pay on time. I used to do that when I was working as well. I never used to keep anybody's money in our, that was my instruction to the finance controller. Nobody's money is in our books. It goes to them. So everybody knows that you can do business with this company and every money is safe. So that itself gives you credibility. That's why when I left the job, so many of them objected. I said, you can't leave, because they wanted to work with me. So I created that thing completely based on ethics. And then the company offered me 5 countries. That is when I had to move out of one country. But again, everything is connected to how you position and place. So this generation who are coming up, apart from the knowledge you gain from the books, it's more of your attitude which will count as your credibility. Attitude towards business, attitude towards life, and how you care for the world will care for you. So there are so many people. I admire some of the people like Tata, very ethical. They don't bribe, they don't do anything unethical. Like there are big business empires who are very ethical, and capital-based business. And there is nothing to conquer or capture or own or be possessive, because things are changing, things are shifting. So if your positioning is flexible and your positioning is ethical, you have a longevity. People will want to do business with you. I'm talking this from conviction that way. Yeah. Yes, please.
Hi. So I have actually two questions. Yes. So the first one is, so I'm a sustainable student. I'm studying sustainability, and we have common, because sustainability is against capitalism.
Yeah.
And they're trying today to work together. So it's like very big problem. But we had these discussions once, and I mentioned to my tutors that I don't know, what do you think about it? But I really think that where we are today as capitalist world, at this system, I really think that we are at the best as a human could have ever been, because we tried the history. It just showed that we tried all the system like socialism, dictatorism, the kingdoms and the colonies and all these things, that all the world systems, and we tried it. And I think that where we are today as capitalism, it's the best at where we could have ever been as a humans, because we needed all this technology. We needed everything what we are doing, what we have today. Yes, it has a lot of consequences, can be conscious about it, how to face these consequences. But I think that with the capitalism where we are, I think it's the best that human can be. I don't think, do you think there is another alternative than capitalism?
There need not be. Why should there be? I feel that everything evolves. Everything evolves anyway. So we don't have to find another alternative for anything. If something is not working, something is not in demand, it shifts to something else. You look at the world, how it has evolved. We don't have to deliberately change anything. Change happens. Change is part of life. Like we have changed. We have evolved. Our thought process changed. All these things are spontaneous. Like that, there could be evolution. I agree with you what you said. This is one of the best point where capitalism is working. But the other side is that it is destroying, the current setup is destroying all the small innovative business. Unless government protected, some of the innovative small term business cannot survive. But innovation different. If somebody has brought some new innovative thing, that has its value. But the larger business empires have a particular mode of operation where they control the markets. When few people control the markets, automatically there will be imbalance, because these people will control governments, which is happening. So that thing, nobody can do anything. This is how it is. If you look at the history, there has been this shift always. First level, it was the rulers were regulated by non-businessmen, and the rulers had their own that plan and agenda. Later, businessmen started controlling governments, and then it will be pro-business governments, and the rulers were taking decisions based on the opinions of the business world. Third level, it came to the third or fourth. I mean, it came now to the level where war machine makers are controlling governments. Who's regulating governments today? War machine makers. So, and war machines are not made as a fancy thing. It is to kill people. It is to destroy. That's the danger today. See? So, technologically, business-wise, the capital movement-wise, this is one of the best times. And it's more accessible to people. This is the beauty of it. Earlier, it was in pockets. Growth were in pockets. Now it's pretty much across the world. I don't think any country or any location is inaccessible to development. So overall capitalism has worked. But the government-based or government-controlled economic system cannot survive because dictators happen there. Because somebody will become the ultimate decision maker, and that man becomes dictator. So then there's no democracy anymore. So also democracy is the most beautiful political system which we have seen so far. Neither monarchy nor any other thing. It's elected members. Again, what is the major ingredient of democracy? For the democracy to be stable? Maturity. If the voters have no maturity, they will select the wrong people, elect the wrong people. And wrong people ruling from the society will take wrong decisions. So we need a lot more maturity, discussion, not like activism, scolding people, complaining, criticizing, fighting, discussion. We need to talk to people, and we need to create such political people who will create political good systems. It is still possible. And also, overwhelming religious involvement. It's not good for the society. Religion is a personal thing. You want to be in a religion, please go ahead. Which religion suits you, good for you. And you can't impose your religion on another. My religion is good, yours is bad. It's impossible. Everybody can choose what they like to choose. And spirituality is a personal connection. That has nothing to do with any of this. You connect yourself to your energy inside. You are a spiritual person. And nobody need to tell you to do that. You already know. You have an energy inside. So here, right now, what we need is awareness that this world, which is in this stage, has happened because of insensitivity over the last 100 years or even more. We systematically destroyed the world, and greed-based economy, many things. Like even petrol was the major thing for a long time. Greed-based. And some areas got growth, and that went to so much of wastage. So many things are wasted. See, many things in this world you can't recover. We have progressed or regressed so much through destruction. So many wars, bloodsheds. See, if you go to America, that memorial of World War, it's written, never again in the history of the world should have such an atrocity committed on so many people, ever. It's like an oath that we will never have a war which will kill people or destroy people. We should never have imbalance. We should never have displacement. What happened after that? How many wars? How much of destruction? Displacement. And see, we are all responsible technically, not directly, but in one way, our approach to life matters. It's not about who wins or who loses. It's about what we think or what we believe in. If you believe in a world which is peaceful, more accepting everything, living together, because end of the day, there's no caste, country, culture, color, religion, language. It's life. It's all life. And everybody have the right to live with equally good life. So for that, we can definitely create it. But how? We need to, first of all, put the people or those who alienate not in power. Then only the political system will help the business system. And if we really want peace in the world, like I got the award of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China. So in that speech, it's on YouTube. I asked this question. If we really want world peace, all we have to do is stop manufacturing weapons. If we stop manufacturing weapons, we have the right to talk about peace in the world. Otherwise, we only talk about pieces of world, PIECES. On one side, we talk about peace, and on the other side, we talk about selling arms to countries. The countries are making profit, but people are dying. You see the hypocrisy, the irony. So, definitely I agree with what you said. This is one of the best times of the capital movement or capital stability, but don't expect this to stay like this. Because more imbalance you see in the world, more movements will happen. Somebody may make the profit, but lot of people may get affected. That's not a good economy. A system where everybody sleeps peacefully, everybody has their full life, and people are responsible. I always say, if you're holding the passport of a country, you should be responsible to that country. Not only blame the politicians, you should also do what you have to do. So that there will be stability. Individual, from the micro level, there will be stability.
Yeah, I agree. Following the word peace comment commenting on this, like, I think today we have seen the world, how hypocrites are today, their influence. And in terms of wars, we have seen what's happening in the Middle East with the Palestinians and in Ukraine as well before. And just all these humanitarian and the human aids and the United Nations and the human rights, it's a lie, actually, because they couldn't do anything.
No, people won't do anything. Let me tell you, I'm not being critical here. You know what? What is the reason for this kind of wars? Like Russian-Ukraine war. What is the reason? Not Russians or Ukrainians. It's war machines. There is a sale going on. What is if there are no weapons, there will be no problem between Palestine and Jews. It's not about people, and most people, if you ask them, would you like to sleep happy, eating well, sleeping well? Everybody will say yes. Who wants to say that I would like to wait for the bomb to fall? So who is interested in this? This is the question. So we have to address the right issue. That means many of these things are not because of any religion or any community. It's about who makes profit out of it. That is what we should understand. See, the Russian-Ukraine war, we are serving in Ukraine. Even now we have 90 trucks or something went from here to Ukraine. We still serve. And we saw that very, very good people, but thing is that they are helpless. The mass is helpless. Decisions are made by somebody for something, and end of the day, those who make profit will continue these things. Because they don't have a problem with killing people or killing animals, killing birds. They don't have any problem. As long as profit is happening, it's good. So we have to, that is exactly what I'm trying to say, that we have to address and bring up the right people, right politicians, right people who rule, so that we can make a change in the world. I think that kind of a breed is coming. I speak to many people, and I can see that a new generation of thinkers are happening, fed up of this whole hypocrisy, generations of hypocrisy. And then they're not caring about the next generation coming up. If they survive, they have to have a life. And that life, what life? So, like we don't look at the world like a desert, barren, with all the nuclear and all these things destroyed. We don't want such a world. We're doing a plantation drive, fruit tree plantation. Maybe you saw it on there. We do a lot because of this kind of thing, because so much of forest fires, so many forests are destroyed. So now I'm going to Turkey in October, and we're planting 1,000+ trees. But there was an earthquake and many. So what is happening is the ecology is affected, people are affected. The whole country is affected in a way. So we're trying to do that. We do all these things as much as possible. But let me tell you, I don't have any wrong notion that tomorrow I can change the world. It won't happen like that. Nobody can individually. But collective consciousness can. As youth, you can do so many things. You can convey the message. Don't look at people. Don't look at colors. Don't look at religions. They have nothing to do with any of this. But we need to be beyond all this and look at humanity. The only religion good for human beings is humanity. Humanism, if at all. That means everybody are human beings. And responsibility. The only path is responsibility. The moment you start like that, then immediately there will be a thought process changing. Otherwise, somebody will be against somebody, always. Some people will say Palestine is right. Some people will say Israel is right. Some people will say Russia is right. Some people will say Ukraine. And again, it's polarization. That has to end, first of all. Unity has to end. See, there's no problem with the people of Britain. There's no problem with the people of USA. No problem with the people of Brazil. Nobody has a problem. But somebody takes a decision that somebody is not right, and always dictators have created enemies to fight with. Look at Hitler, what he did. He created an enemy so that everybody was focusing on the enemy, and he did his thing. All dictators do that. Jews were the enemy, and everybody was fighting the Jews. And that's how he polarized the whole thing. Stalin did the same. Bourgeoisie, was the problem. And that was, everybody was focusing on that, like that. So we have to, first of all, completely demolish the barriers, boundaries. All are one. We are all one. We can't be different. How can that be? Because we all also respond to love. We respond to fear. We respond to pain. All of us, across the world. What is the difference? You see? So political philosophy is merged with the business philosophy. It's interconnected. One controls the other. And even now, the religious philosophies also. The religions who control things based on religion. That is also another issue.
They're using religion. They're using religion.
Many countries. No, because that sells well, fear-based. See, if a religion tells you, if you do these things, you go to hell. Oh no, I don't want to go to hell. I'll do these things. So fear-based control. This is not right. We should have no fear. Why we should have fear? What are we afraid of? So we are human beings. We are born to love, not to hate. And hatred never makes us happy. Always leaves us insufficient. Half of us, lost. So even though, I'm deviating a slightly thing, but I wanted to prove a point that the capitalism, the mode of capitalism is pretty much affected by so many other frequencies which are moving together, such as political, religious, cultural, very, very small contribution. Culture, people are destroying culture left and right. Because we are in an world of entertainment, mobile phone, social media, entertainment. So that we are eager for the entertainment. We are all islands now. We fall in love through WhatsApp. We get out of love through WhatsApp. We love somebody through heart sign. And we say, like, so that go away. Don't talk anymore. So it has its own language now. It's fun.
Good.
I hope I answered your question. Yes.
Mohanji, I have a question. Because as business school academics, what do you think that we can encourage? Because we have students coming into these pockets.
Yeah.
The people who will be future leaders in the business world. What is it that business school or professors in business school should do to kind of take that message across? How could
May I answer in 2 words? Set trends. Set your own trend. Make your own style. Don't imitate. Don't try to do what others are doing. Set your trends. And that will be your message to the world. Unique, because we are all born unique. Our thumb impression is unique to us. Nobody else is like that. Our uniqueness is our strength. And don't try to do what others are doing. Set trends, different levels of business. See, I tell you one example. During COVID, we have activities in 6 continents, right? Some people lost their jobs, because retrenchment was very common. So one person was telling me, one lady, a single mother, was telling me, Mohanji, I don't have any income. And there's a problem, no income. So I said, what job do you do? What's your skill? So she said, I'm an IT underwriter or something. Those who write things for the IT business. So then I said, is it still, that job is still valid? I said, yeah, a lot of people need it, but nobody's employing me. I said, why do you need employment? You work as an outsource. There are so many people in our group globally who are in similar fields, IT related. Talk to them, make a consortium and offer services. Everybody got money, started getting money. Everybody started not surviving, doing well. So every time when you think beyond your box or think beyond your thing, there will be a way. And I would like everybody to be trendsetters. See, nobody gave me anything in the platter. Whatever I have done in the world, I walked alone. I brought this forward. And don't expect that people will support you or give you a helping hand or even finance you. But when you start doing things and when they know that you know what you're doing and you have conviction for what you're doing, you believe in yourself. That's the best thing you need. Most important thing you need is self-belief. If I don't believe in myself, trust in myself, I can't do anything. And not to please somebody, not to prove something to somebody, not for proving, but for proving our existence or proving to ourselves that I can do it. And everybody are individuals, and nobody need to control anybody or regulate anybody or guide anybody. They can create and then put it together and make a system. And that system should be a trend in the world. You see, that is definitely possible.
So the students will get inspired by what the professors do themselves. Like to their personal example, yes, it is message.
Through professors or even without, I mean, like individually, you can create your own. And now it is very easy to, if you have found something or if you believe in something, you can tell that through social media. So many people will respond. Like you must have seen my quotes, which goes in social media. See now the Mohanji Youth Club. They're doing a lot of different things. Their inspiration is all from within. And some of them came back and said that they could not believe that they could do so many things. That's the point here. You have the power, and when there is a strength from within, nobody can stop you. You look at all the all the people who have been successful in the world, they all believed in themselves and they didn't wait for anybody. You look at anybody, not just the rich people, those who have done something in the world, they never waited for anybody. You see? And also when we wait, we keep waiting. And if you give excuses, you are an escapist. You see? But the world is changing. The one thing I always tell is flexibility. Keep yourself flexible so that if something that you did or you're doing is not working, immediately you can take a detour and move forward. It happens in life. Sometimes the road you travel in gets a block. Immediately take a detour and still proceed. Bit of difference, like a slight deviation, but keep going. Did I answer your question? Yes, please.
Mentioned about set your trends, but sadly enough, the world that we're living in, trends come and go every day. So even if someone is putting everything that they believe in and something that they are very passionate about and build something out of it, it might not click and it might not work. No matter how good it is for the world, for the community, for the society, or from an innovation or sustainable point of view, then setting that trend and getting lost in the whole realm of...
Yeah, understood your question. First point, the setting trend is you become the trend. Unmistakably. Not that you set something outside of you. You are the trend. Your style is what people talk about. Your method is what people talk about. And if you have failed many times, that's your practice. If you attempted one thing, it didn't work. Okay, another one. And finally, people will know that this person is thorough. It's somebody who has just been successful may not have stability because they are addicted to that kind of situation. But if you have fallen few times and then you reach there, people automatically know you have been thorough. And your determination will say you are still walking. You look at all the successful people. They all have failed many times. I have failed many times. Everything was taken away at one time. All things. My family, money, possessions, all things gone at one time. Then I rebuilt it again. But at that point in time, I was focused on not rebuilding, focused on myself, my stability. So your birthright is your stability, or your stability is your birthright. You remain stable and don't follow the opinions of people who sometimes say you can't do that. I used to tell our people, tell me one thing you can do rather than tell me 20 things you can't do. Because that one thing is the only important thing. So when you become the trend, your style becomes the trend, that will be noticed. People can't ignore it. You become unignorable. So it will take its time. But individually, you are already a trend because you are unique. There's nobody like another. Your constitution is unique to you. That's your strength. And that level of stability you show as a strong constitution, people will notice it. People will regard it, respect it. And your commitment, even if you do not succeed for many years, like the owner of KFC got success at 60. That colonel was not successful all his life up until he reached 60. So when do you get success? We don't know. When will you be successful? But have the patience, keep walking. You know what is happening usually? See, we have been conditioned by the society. A child is born. First is education. And second, soon after education, a job, salary. Then after that, marriage, a house, children's education. That goes on. This is what we call a successful life. This existence is what we say as success. Oh, I'm educated, now I have a job, now I have a husband or wife, I have children, I have family, now I'm successful. Not necessarily. You're just being conforming or just part of the society, you're conforming to the movement of the society. There is no individuality there. You don't need individuality. To be an employee, you don't need individuality. If you have the degree and you know what you're doing, they employ you. There you're stuck. Then there is no individuality. I'm talking about originality, which you are born with. That originality you always have, but not necessarily you can express that originality in your workplace because the employer may not need it. Employer already has a target, and those people employ you for achieving that target. So your originality has no value. But here I'm talking about originality where you set a trend. And in that, the whole bargain is extreme contentment. There will be uncertainty, fluctuation. All these are part of life. But your level of contentment is not like you are an employee. You're working in an established system. That's the difference I'm talking about here. This is possible in a human existence, in this life. But don't be afraid of failure. Keep walking. I'll give you one example. There was one young lady. She met me when she was a student. And one time when I was doing a lecture, the huge crowd, 100, 200 people. So she came up to me and said, I want to talk to you privately. I said, no time. She looked at the people. No, just one word. I want to leave this place. And I want to go to another state because I don't want to be with my parents. I said, no problem, you go. But she was full of fear. I said, you go. And I helped her to move to that place. And then she, over time, about 10 years, she built up her own business. And later, one time, she was bringing a huge conference to India with a partner. She got a partner who's also financing, and she's along with them doing it. And she told me this business is coming. It's like a big conference, but it's like a global conference. So I said, do it. You can do it. So she was doing it, and 2 months before this conference, this partner took away all her data and vanished. Everything. She has nothing. She calls me at 3 a.m. and he was crying, and she said, my life is gone. Everything is lost. Then I said, what happened? So she said, my partner ran away. And she's starting a similar thing using the same data. So I asked, who created this data? She said, I created it. Then no problem, you create again. She said, that's simple? I said, yeah, that's simple. But there is no time. I said, who said? 2 months is long time. You need 2 weeks to do that. And she made the program and she became very successful. Now next week she's doing a bigger program. So that's exactly what I'm saying. That dependency or one failure, you may feel that you lost everything. You may think that you lost life. But there you stand up, then nobody can stop you. And that woman who went away, she could not put two things together because she doesn't know how to do it. She only had the data, but she does not know how to implement it. So the whole business collapsed eventually. So this is exactly the point I'm telling. Originality always has strength. And we are all born original. We have our nature as our strength. The more you are rooted in your own nature, you are extremely stable and powerful. Any more questions? Thank you. I think I deviated from your capitalism quite a bit.
I think very quickly from the message of being original to finding one's own strength in the uniqueness of one's own identity, how micro-level transformation can eventually lead to macroeconomic impacts. I mean, your session has been enlightening, and we are very thankful for what you have told us. I think we should give a big round of applause. I've taken some wonderful notes. I don't want to repeat everything, but one or two things that I would definitely like to reaffirm. We are born to love, not to hate. We are here to guide, not to teach. So there are messages in the conversation, in your session, in your talk, that are very inspiring. And I really felt it was a great good fortune for all of us to hear your practice-based approach and the insights emerging from them. Thank you so very much, Mohanji. I also thank the British team for hosting this event. Aisha, who helped me, Jade, who has come to all of you for taking part, along with all this lovely family and entourage that has come here today. Thank you so very much, everyone.
Thank you.
I would just like to say thank you so much, Professor Jadilathan, and may this be the first of many such wise persons coming to talk at the business school about a totally different way of looking at society, how we exist in it, and how we get the means to survive. So thank you, and all the best to your series.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Peace.